Next up, White Rock Minerals and Managing Director and CEO Matt Gill. Matt, please.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for taking the time on the afternoon of day two. Long haul for many of you. Hopefully by the end of my very short presentation, you'll get a sense of why White Rock might be a good investment opportunity for you. Now, clearly 10 minutes isn't a lot of time. I'm just going to paint a bit of a picture. If you'd like to see me afterwards, this presentation is on the website. I have a booth number 1 up on the stage in the room to our right, and more than happy to see you. I assume you read the disclaimer. I'm going to give you a very brief view of who we are, the commodities that we're in, why I think if I was an investor I would like to have a second look at White Rock, a little bit on our assets, and then a closing comment. We have 2 assets. We have a gold and silver project in northern New South Wales, backed by a JORC resource in gold and silver, and also with the gold a maiden JORC reserve. It's on mining lease, it's got infrastructure, and it's less than 3 years from production once we've done the permitting. We also have a second project, which is a top quartile zinc project, VMS project located in Alaska. Maiden JORC resource last year put it in the top quartile of undeveloped zinc projects in the world, and is a very exciting project that we are going to do exploring on this calendar year, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that shortly. In a reasonable part of Alaska, it is quite infrastructure poor, but we are just due south of Fairbanks and well supported within 80 kilometres by road and rail. So the 3 commodities that White Rock are in, and again as an investor you should consider a couple of key issues. One is the commodities that the company is in. Another criteria I would suggest as an investor would be the management team, and I'll touch on that, and also the jurisdictions in which we operate. So we have a top quartile undeveloped zinc project in the world, in Alaska. It also has significant quantities of silver, as does our New South Wales project. And the project in Alaska and the one in New South Wales also have commonality in gold. When you add the 2 JORC resources together, White Rock is the holder of just under 700,000 ounces of gold, over 76 million ounces of silver, which is the equivalent of 1 million ounces of gold equivalent, just under 700,000 tonnes of zinc, and significant tonnages of lead. So for a small company, we've certainly got 2 decent assets, and I guess my job is to advance those assets and add value for shareholders. And if you have a look at the underlying technical details of the 2 projects, and I won't be the last one that ever says we're undervalued, hopefully you might share my view and also maybe understand some of my frustration. So the Red Mountain asset, as I said, we've had it less than 2 years, globally significant with a grade just under 13% zinc equivalent. We are right in the middle of a capital raise. We've got over $3 million in the bank, and we'll be drilling this project for the first time in 15 years. It also hasn't had any modern geophysics or geochemistry in the last 10 years, and we'll be doing that as well. We'll be doing that this year. We'll be starting at the end of May. So the significant news flow that will come from that, again, I would like you to form your own view, but I think will be quite exciting. I'm going to show you 2 slides that shows our comparison to our peers. Again, I'm not the last one that will ever say that we're undervalued. Again, I'd like you to satisfy yourself. And I will compare just our zinc project to zinc peers on the ASX, and then I'll compare ourselves to gold peers on the ASX. So no zinc value ascribed to the gold comparison, and no gold comparison ascribed to the zinc. So on either metric, I think I'd like you to also form a view that there's plenty of upside for an investor. 2 first-class jurisdictions. Alaska is in the top 10 of the Fraser Institute out of 90-odd jurisdictions, and in New South Wales as well. While it has a permitting process, It's first world jurisdiction, follows the rule of law. As I mentioned, we do have a gold asset in New South Wales underpinned by a feasibility study in the Maiden Reserve. It's on mining lease, tails dam, well advanced. So 2 good projects and 2, I think, good opportunities for an investor. So when you compare White Rock to our zinc peers on an enterprise value per tonne equivalent, we're to the right. We've got the second best grade of any of our zinc peers, and so I think that shows that there's an opportunity for value uplift as we explore on the ground in Alaska. If we look at just our gold project in New South Wales, again, we're far to the right in terms of development projects. Again, I'd like to think there's plenty of opportunity as we add value for that project and for shareholders as well. Very briefly, and this is all on the ASX, no debt. As of the capital raising yesterday, over 3 million in the bank. A good register, open to cornerstone institutions at this point in time with our 2 projects, as I mentioned. As I said, just recently closed the rights issue part of a capital raise, but there still is 1.6 million on offer, which is about 11% of White Rock, and we're currently looking for a strategic or cornerstone investor to help progress our projects. I won't dwell too much on the board. It's unusual though, 5 of us, 4 of us are mining engineers, so we want to grow the business. Most people will probably have heard of Ian Smith. He was most recently Managing Director of Newcrest, the 3rd largest gold company in the world. Brian, my chairman, is also chairman of Panoramic, which is an ASX-listed nickel and cobalt company. Many people may have heard of Peter Lester. He was previously chairman of Kidman, which is lithium, Dore, which was gold. He was Owen Hegarty's right-hand man in Oxiana and M&A. So a great board. I'm the boy on the board with about 30 years experience and a finance chap as well. We're located in central Alaska with this globally significant maiden resource. When we acquired it, it was 16 square kilometres with 2 known deposits. We acquired the pre-competitive Alaskan Geological Society's Geochem and Geophysics. That identified 30 lookalike targets to the 2 known deposits, and we expanded our footprint from 15 square k's out to 140. So we not only have a maiden JORC resource and 2 deposits open along strike and down dip that we'll drill this year, we've also got 30 similar targets that we'll be conducting on-ground geophysics and geochem. So a great exciting opportunity. It's the first time it will have been drilled since the 1990s, and the first time there'll be on-ground geophysics and geochem in the last 10 years. So with modern exploration techniques and the drilling knowledge that we have, I think there'll be great news flow to follow. Some exceptional drilling widths and grades, up to 60 metres wide. They're in lenses. You can see there are zinc grades over 20% zinc, silver grades over 700 grams per tonne, so the equivalent of about 10 grams a tonne gold, as well as significant lead. It's a true polymetallic VMS system. JORC resource maiden tonnage 16 million tonnes at just under 9%, but within that there's a high-grade component of 9 million tonnes at 13% zinc equivalent. And that's what puts it in the top quartile of undeveloped projects. It puts us on par with any other ASX zinc company currently on the exchange. A bubble graph, we're not the biggest bubble there in terms of metal size, but we're one of the better grades. And given that it hasn't had any modern exploration work in the last 10 to 15 years, we believe very strongly that we'll be able to add to that. So our objectives for this season is to get on the ground and extend the 2 known deposits and conduct concurrent geophysics and geochemistry. So 2/3 of the money we're raising goes straight into the ground, with news flow to follow from the beginning of the end of May when we establish the camp and the drill. We've already taken the drill and the camp to site, and that's a photo of it. That's where we are located on an airstrip with the project just to our right. So well supported by infrastructure, accessible by Cessna. It's half an hour chopper from Fairbanks, with many regional targets around the 2 known deposits that have had no drilling in the last 15 years. Very briefly, our Mount Carrington asset, gold and silver, advanced. It's had previous mining. That's the photo on the bottom left. It's got a tails dam. It's got a resource. It's got a JORC reserve. It's 12 to 18 months for permitting, a year to build. We'd be producing gold within inside 3 years. An aerial view on the right showing the infrastructure. About $20 million spent by previous people, which is why our capital cost is only $35 million to get into production. Average 35,000 ounces per annum will make about $10 million free cash a year. Environmental impact statement yet to be done. With lots of upside to put a drill on any number of targets. There's over 100,000 metres of drilling already in existence in 2,000 drill holes that form this JORC resource, but lots of upside potential both for gold, but we also have 23 million ounces of silver, of which 8 million is in the indicator category, so that's also to be added to the mine plan. So we could easily be mining gold for 5 to 6 years and then silver for another 3 or more before we even have any further exploration success. So we've got 2 projects at different stages in different jurisdictions, which I think is a good risk diversification consideration for any investor. So why would you invest in White Rock? Obviously I'm biased, but I think significant exposure to a zinc asset in Alaska with great upside as we get on the ground and start drilling and exploring this year, and we're funded with $3 million to do that. News flow that will come, good jurisdictions in Alaska and Australia, a good board, I'd let you form your own view on that, and backed by Mount Carrington gold and silver asset with a JORC resource and reserve. Thanks very much. If you want to come and see me afterwards, I'm at booth 1. Thank you.